in my mind, I hear something right now. I hear, "Hey, darling, what you doing?" Many of us would get that phone call, "Hey, darling, what you doing?" Normally it would be my wife, Marla, and she'd say, "Nothing, just teaching right now." And she said, "Well, let me go ahead and let you get back to teaching. Just wanted to check on you." That was Aunt Barbara G in many ways. I do not know, well, I'm going to make an assumption this morning because of how much Sonia and Sherry love their mother. The service is at 11:30 this morning because there was a great homecoming in heaven the other day. Barbara Jean and Jeannie, a little bit of Buddy on the side, and other family members, and they knew there was going to be a celebration of life. Because as Christians, when we suffer, when we go through sorrow and times, difficult times, we do it, but we're not hopeless. We have hope in the promise of the man that we believe in. Because as a Christian, we realize that this is just one chapter in our life, and a short chapter at that. But I'm imagining we met at 11:30 this morning so that Barbara Jean, Jeannie, and Buddy can wake up, get out of their house coats and slippers, and get ready to see family and friends and think about another review is going to happen another day. I learned this the first time I went on vacation with the Arants and Thorntons. We were at the beach and the sun came up and they did not. And I'm looking at Marla, and like all of y'all ladies do, you sort of, when you're dating, you sort of go along what we want to do. I said, "It's 9 o'clock, let's eat." And we go out on the beach. We went out on the beach for a couple hours, got burnt, come back at 11:30, and there, Harold is sitting on the couch with his nice house, his house coat on and slippers, and they're talking about world events, looking at the newspaper, and they're talking about breakfast at 11:30, 11:45, and I'm warning this family that I'm going to be a part of. And they eat breakfast, and about 4 in the afternoon, they're making sandwiches for lunch. And I'm thinking about dinner, and about 9 o'clock that night, they're mixing up a cake and putting in the oven that'll be ready at 11. But there was no clock, there was no time. There was family together, and they were enjoying each other. I call her aunt, some of you call her mom, sister, grandmother, mother-in-law, wife, friend. Sonia was exactly right, and every time from the first day I met Aunt Barbara Jean, I thought of a woman of elegance and grace, always dressed to the max. Everything matching, her scarf, her earrings, her hair was fixed. She was a lovely, lovely, classy woman. A good one to aspire to. Keep aspiring. I'm not there yet. You can do it. We got faith in you there, sis. She lived 89 years. You know, I'm 67, so I've been a part of 2/3 of that, of her 89 years. Can you think of all the events and all the changes she has witnessed from World War II until present day? 15 presidents, from FDR to Trump 47. In the last 35 years, the World Wide Web, Hotmail, Windows for computers in 1998, Google was founded, Facebook in 2004, all the technology changes, YouTube, iPhones, Instagram, Siri and Alexis, who lives in our house with us, TikTok in the 2000s or the 20s, a pandemic, and now the onset of AI. She's seen all of these changes in the world around her. And thank goodness for a grandson that could help guide her through, because her daughter couldn't do all that. But we celebrate what hasn't changed in our life throughout those 89 years. A love of family. There is a special, special bond, always has been, between those three sisters and that brother. They can entertain themselves. You had the musician, Bobbie, who knew nothing except to make a piano walk and talk. Could not read music. Then you had the actress, Miss Margaret over there, who'd be singing. Mr. Burke could cut the rug. He was the dancer. And everybody knew the critic, and that was Miss Louise. So someone there that just got him. They have a genuine love and care of each other. They took pride in the success of the family. I'm always amazed watching the three sisters, how proud they have been of their brother and his life and his success and that of his children. Bert was theirs. Bert was theirs. I heard that so many times about their family. When they got together, they entertained themselves, and thank God they have spread that on to the next generation. You should see it when Sonia and Sherry and Kathy and Angela and Anna Margaret and Marla, then we get together and the men sort of put up with it. They are, they're legal in everything they do. I'm afraid at Sherry's house sometimes, or the reason Mr. Burke bought a place out in the country so we can put all the crazy people out in the country for Thanksgiving, and the little Burke takes them at Christmas time. But the family get together, they don't need a television, or an iPad, or a cell phone. They love each other. If you look at those pictures that Marla put together, and Marla is one who's going to speak for Ballarat, Bobbie. She's in a Peru mission trip with our family. A mission trip that Sonia went on last year, or 2 times. And just know that people in Peru are praying for you and your families on 2 continents. The touch from this family in God's work and God's name has gone out. When this family gets together, it's a wild time. Chinese Christmas is so much funny because everybody wants to sit back and find out what is happening to Sonia this year. Sonia, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to Sonia. She gets the best of the worst gifts, and that she loves it. She wouldn't have it any other way. The strength of family, that during difficult times or times of uncertainty or in times of literal storms, the family would get together. When Hurricane Hugo rolled through, where were the Arams? They were in St. Matthew's in the hallway of the Thorntons, with right there, Margaret, right there, hunkered down in the hallway, sleeping on the floor until that storm passed. Even the storm, that ice storm, when Mr. Bobbie was in hospice care, the Arams knew that during the difficult times of life, the storms of life, you depend on family. It's the same thing each and every one of you do right there. One of the stories that we've been told that Miss Bobbie was shot in school. I don't know if that's true or not. The story goes that Bobbie got on the bus to go home. Louise was running late. They cranked up the bus and started driving away. Louise was running behind the bus to catch up with it. Bobbie was too shy to tell the driver, hey, my sister is trying to catch the bus. And I asked Marla, I said, hey, you believe that? I said, she's not shy, she's smart. She's getting back to Louise right now by watching the bus leave her in the dust, and she's running behind it. I said, you better give your Aunt Bobbie more credit than that. She won that battle right there. The family is only, with those 3 sisters and brother, they added a Jeannie and a Buddy and a Jody, and they added all of theirs, and they're still adding today. I hope we all take the lessons from Bobbie, that family doesn't change, that we depend on each other, we make time in this busy world for the thing that's most important. On the day when we were born, the family got together to welcome that baby into the world. And that baby was dependent upon those who loved him. In our last days on this planet, family gathers around that loved one to love them and support them, to be there during those last days. So in the first days of life and the last days of life, if family is the most important, let us live every day like that. That we put family together first. You know, they didn't have seatbelt laws when Sonia and Sherry and all of them were growing up. And my wife's favorite stories are also of them doing things, the Arans and Thorntons together, in one car. They would go out to eat in one car. So we're talking about 4 adults, and Cecil, Anna Margaret, Marla, Sonia, Sarah, 9 in one car. Now I knew that Mr. Buddy and Mr. Genie always had a love for cars, and they always had nice cars. And Sonia has kept that. Sonia's always had nice cars. She gave one away about a week or so ago. I mean, so she's very generous in her nice car right there as well. But I'm still imagining them put Anna Margaret on the dashboard, Cecil in the back right there, and down the road they would go. Whether they were going to the Matos to eat, the mountains, whether they were going to the airport to fly to New York City, the things they would do together in one car, the memories that were made, and not much brain damage from all 9 people, not buckled down. You know, I told Cliff this a little while ago. I said, he's going to understand this one day. That as a parent, probably the most important thing to me is the life partner my children they get, who they marry, who's going to be with them through the thick of them. The family's blessed to have Cliff. Cliff can take care of his wife and his sister wife and be right there. He's great. Can I get one? There's nobody who loves giving Sonia a harder time than Cliff. But before she gave the car away, she had tire problems, and Cliff was right there to fix the tire, make sure it got handled well, and she gave the car the new tires away. But Cliff is a blessing.
She made sure she detailed it too for the person.
Oh, detailed it for him too. Arans don't do anything halfway. We understand that. The love of family, the importance of family has not changed over the 80 years. Also, what has not changed is Bobbie Jean's Christian character, her kindness, her sweetness. God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. His promise that he promised to our parents, that he promises to us, that he will promise to our children, is that if we turn his life over us, that we'll have life over to him, that we'll have life and have it more abundant, and we can spend eternity with him and his son. Those things do not change. I remember this, one of the stories Morgan told me is he spent the night with Sonia and Sherry, and she said, you know, my dad, late at night, Bobbie Jean sort of has this aura, this glow. She's just so nice to us. Morgan was young then, and when she got a little bit older, I said, do you remember that story? She said, yeah, at night, her face would glow. And I said, Morgan, that was the glow of the refrigerator. She was looking for leftovers in the middle of the night. That's what you saw reflecting on her face. And Bobbie Jean enjoyed food. She really did. And it didn't matter. You know, the one thing with the sisters, they always use this phrase, that was the best. That was the best grits, the best days, the best time that they've ever had. It was the best. And but what you didn't know is Bobbie Jean would come to our house and eat, or we'd go out and eat, and there would be a card in the mail, not too long, or that phone call thanking us, and every now and then flowers, where she took time to let people know that she appreciated the little things that she did that meal. That didn't change in the 89 years. Sherry wanted me to share one thing is that, you know, Bobbie Jean's character, people knew it. And she was a creature of habit. For all those years, for breakfast, she said she'd roll to McDonald's, get an egg McMuffin, And one time going through there, when she got to the window, she realized she didn't have any money. There was a new girl working at the window. She said, "Sweetheart, I don't have any money." She said, "Let me talk to my manager." And the manager told me, he said, "Oh, that's Bobbie Jean. Let her have it." And I think there was another story that she'd always go get a hamburger from there because she liked extra onions. They knew how to fix it for her, and they'd have it in the bag. And one time they gave her a McDonald's shirt because people knew her and they appreciated her kindness and her goodness. All of Sonia's and Jerry's friends enjoyed going to her house. The first time I went to the house, I thought Bobbie Jean might be part Japanese, and she was doing this just for me. Because I took my shoes off before I walked in. Carla said, "Take your shoes off." And I said, "They're new shoes, so it doesn't matter. We're at Bobbie Jean's. Nothing goes in that floor off your shoes." And I did not realize that. I did not realize that there may, if this saying is true, that cleanliness is next to godliness, there was not a more godly woman that walked the earth. Because everything was clean. Everything was in its place. I appreciated that about her. I really did. But Sonia and Sherry's friends enjoyed doing that because they were loved. All their friends loved Miss Bobbie Jean. And I think Sonia alluded to it. Sherry will make sure that we beneficiary. You know, all of us who are non-family, we got all the sugar. They got a little bit of the vinegar to keep them straight right there. Because she can set them straight in the heartbeat. So somebody had to, it was her. We would say this, that for 89 years, what didn't change was her love for family, her Christian values, her character, her goodness, her sweetness. I don't know how we say thank you to her, but we say thank you. And today we're not saying goodbye, we're just saying see you a little later. And we'll see her a little later if we put our faith, our trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for being here. Sonia said it means, as Sonia and Sherry tell you, it means you love your family. But you thought enough of them to take time to be here. Take time to be with your family as well. God bless you.